Going to go for two here.
He's going for two.
If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Caught him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Going to go for two here. Go for two here.
Caught him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Go for two here. Go for two here. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in.
Okay, guys, welcome in. We had a heck of a week 15. Right off the top, the first thing I want to talk about is we didn't have the best week 15, but Dwayne Haskins definitely did. And the fact that we started doing this show remotely was because we're trying to be responsible. Dwayne Haskins was doing the opposite of that. So I'm assuming you guys have heard this story.
Yeah, I heard a bit of it briefly. Yeah, I heard he got caught, regular 2020 style, getting caught by the cameras in a strip club.
Yeah,
with his mask off.
And somebody posted it on social media. I don't know.
Like, that was the kicker. Like, whatever. Like, first off, you're not supposed to be going out during this pandemic. It's well known.
Yeah.
We've chosen to stay away from this topic. But like, I was at the grocery store this morning. Also, you shouldn't be going out during a pandemic, but I had to get groceries. And at the popped up on my phone, I remember just taking this screenshot instantly. Can we please talk about this tonight?
Yeah, I think you hit me up, and then you hit the group up. You might have hit Shane and Liam up individually too, because
I was like, this is too good.
Talk about. And we've all been to those dance clubs, gentlemen, right? We know that there is absolutely no such thing as social distancing, and if there is, you certainly ain't getting your money's worth, right?
Hey man, they're just shoe models. Don't disrespect them, Kaylin.
Yeah, background dancers, right?
Yeah, hey.
That's somebody's daughter.
You're just there to test the furniture out.
Yeah, they're nice ladies, and they are enjoyable little establishments. Maybe not if you're an NFL quarterback during a pandemic when you're not supposed to leave your hotel, but hey, at least I wasn't caught on social media. So
this is the second athlete too that got caught. There was somebody in the NBA. I can't remember who it was. Was it Skip to My Lou or somebody from the Clippers? I think that he skipped the town to get something or other.
One of them brought somebody into the bubble. I remember that.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I think Skip to My Lou is probably 60 years old now, so I don't believe that it was him.
I just call it Lou Williams. I just call anybody that was Lou. Skip to My Lou, man.
we don't want to confuse the audience because everyone watching is gonna know who Skip to My Lou is. So
yeah,
we don't want to be slandering somebody's name out there. But the real talk. I know you guys want to talk about this, so whatever. We were talking about slander. Now, you guys know my stance, and I'm going to sit here quietly while you talk about it. But is Juju ruining the Steelers' Juju? Go ahead, Kaylin.
Oh, well, I know that he's been doing his dance lately, which is catching some headlines. I know
just lately,
just lately. I know he's been doing his dance all year long, and of course, now that they're losing, the media needs something to grab a hold to, and they're going to talk about Juju's dancing on the center field. Now, I didn't know this beforehand. I guess but Tomlin, did he say something before that game that he had asked Juju to not do that, and then Juju had said he wasn't going to do it, and then he just did it anyway? So you're the Steelers guy. Fill me in on that one.
I don't believe that's correct.
Okay, yeah, because there was conversation about how Tomlin was, I saw his dance, so I'm going to have a conversation with him about it or something like that. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, people will spin people's words to make them sound a little bit catchier on headlines. And Mike Tomlin is not a soft-spoken guy. He's also not the kind of guy to come out into a press conference and say he's going to discipline a player. So if he wanted Juju to stop, Juju would have stopped.
You know who else isn't a soft-spoken guy? It was Jim Bob Ray. Look at that sweater you're rocking there, Chad. I love it, man. Look at that, the alumni. That's a beauty shirt.
Well, yeah. You know what Jim Bob Ray is now, right?
What's that? Jim Bob
Toboggan. It's Toboggan.
Toboggan.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Give me a break. They turned it into that because of guys like Chad. They couldn't clean up the puke anymore.
Got some good beer out coming out of that place.
Oh, it's a delicious beer. Right next door, there's a little bit of delicious food. Make sure you're always looking after Joe Cools and getting them delivered. We got to get some updated hours for him. We'll post some updated hours because I'm sure they're going to have updated hours with all these shenanigans that are going on out here in the world.
So I want to jump
earlier, people got to eat.
Sorry.
So Chad, go ahead, man.
We all know how I feel about dancing on center fields. I got a little passionate a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I actually was unaware that Juju was doing this when I had my rant.
So, me too. I didn't know that.
So the crazy part is that they were 11-0 and he was doing this, and it never made national news, which blows my mind because the guy is actually like a TikTok and Instagram star, and he built a brand. Good for him. I'm surprised it took this long to get this kind of exposure because out of the rant I gave Malcolm, you and Malcolm Butler, like, who the fuck do you think you are dancing on my logo?
Yeah.
I feel the same way of how did this get let go for this long? You can't tell me he didn't walk into Baltimore. He hasn't walked into Cincinnati before and done this. And there's just zero respect across the board. Just let him do it. I don't even want my rant this time because obviously it just goes on deaf ears and the NFL just doesn't care. There's no respect for the team that you play for anymore. And that goes on the home team.
Yeah.
So this guy's done it week in and week out and posting it online and you're letting him do it. You know what? Shame on all those home team and their players.
Yeah.
And if I was the owner, I would definitely have words to say to the guys who I'm paying to represent my shield.
Well, the owners they're pretty lucky that there's no fans in the stands. Can you imagine if Juju was doing that with the fans? And Shane, was he doing this last year?
He's always done something along these lines, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I just couldn't imagine doing that in the fans in the stands and just not catching flack.
Like, do you remember when T.O. did that on the Star?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, Darren Woodson ran 65 yards on a full sprint and put a helmet into his spine. And not one person batted an eye. Like, well, he deserved it.
Yeah, it made a 6'3", 240-pound receiver look like he was 160 pounds.
And that was back in the 90s when people cared about who they played for and the name, and it wasn't about the name on the back. So maybe I'm sounding old right here, but like I said, like, it's shame on the home teams at this point. It's no longer like, you know what, Juju, do your thing. I don't care. Build your brand. I still think you shouldn't be doing that. And I'm not going to scream about it this time because I guess every home team just lets them do it, which is a fucking joke.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I saw a team that
right, it's during warm-ups. I could go out and stop them. That's
what I'm saying, right? Like, if I saw someone do that on my field, I'm like, hey, go send a fucking message right now. It's that simple. What do? Fine you? They're not going to kick out the game that hasn't started yet.
Well, I mean, the refs aren't going to do anything to like penalize the teams because the refs are the worst ever.
You can't penalize a guy before the game starts. So you do 15 yards after the opening kickoff.
You can throw them out. You can throw them out of the game
before the game
starts. It's really
absolutely,
right? Like,
absolutely.
I have the chest-to-chest bobs, and they have the scrums, and then it's before the game or whatever. It seems to be becoming a more popular thing. I don't know why all the team it's nothing that I've seen before. I thought that the center field logo was just something you didn't touch, like you were talking about, Chad. It seems to be a brand new thing this year because it wasn't something that people did routinely in the past. It was like the TO randomly had done it. I had seen Kevin Byard do it in Dallas as well, and there was a couple of beefs or stints there between the Ravens and the Steelers, or I think I'd done it before too. But it's just you don't do it right now. People are doing it every time before. Now, mind you, like you mentioned, he's a TikTok star. Maybe the teams are liking getting involved with him on the side and doing that.
But now other guys do, and it's never a starter. It's never a guy that's a Pro Bowler. It's never a main guy. Like, Juju's probably the biggest name that's doing it, and we've had debates about number one receivers numerous times on this show, and he's not even nowhere near that. But he's still probably the most high-profile guy that's doing it. It looks like guys are doing that to get their name out there and get put on social media so they can get their name trending or something.
Well, I mean, they're promoting some kind of a product while they're doing it. That's essentially what's happening. I mean, Juju's getting paid to do it, so
yeah.
I mean, he's still on his rookie contract. Let him go and make his money. If no one wants to stop him, who really cares? I think
now it's on the home team.
I think it's kind of embarrassing that the national commentators think that something like that is the reason that teams are getting fired up to play the Steelers.
Yeah, I know.
It's just not it at all. I mean,
I think teams are fired to play the Steelers to play because they're playing the Steelers.
If that's your motivation to play professional football because someone danced on your field, like, I don't know, man, you need to get your priorities checked.
The only time that I would say that makes a big impact is it specifically a division. Like, when you're a division team, you're just looking for a reason to create even more of a rivalry there. That's the only reason why I would say that you get like a pass there, not a pass, but like it's going to get worse.
The word rivalry gets thrown out in the NFL almost every week as if it's something that if teams aren't consistently going back and forth and beating each other, it's not a rivalry. They just happen to play each other every year.
Speaking of that, though, I mean, you guys got a real rivalry. Like, in your division, it might be the toughest division in the league right now, and it seems everybody plays everybody incredibly tough.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a good division. I think that going into the season, we thought the AFC West was probably the toughest division, and we thought
The
it wasn't even going to
Broncos.
be close.
And Broncos,
The-
right? That's
The
right.
Broncos.
The NFC West is where the Seahawks and the Rams and the Cardinals and the 49ers play.
But yes, but I thought you did say the AFC.
Yeah,
sorry.
we both thought you said AFC. We
Yeah,
both
sorry.
thought-
Okay.
Sorry.
It-
Either one,
it-
AFC, NFC West, they are both incredibly tough
Yeah.
divisions. They're both looking good.
yeah, but anyway, I mean, it's looking like there's going to be 3 teams from the AFC North that get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the AFC West gets 3 teams in, but I think that's probably the toughest division right now. I mean, as far as wins and losses go.
Yeah, and like I said, they're playing each other incredibly tough, and like that's what you need to be doing is playing your division hard. And they got wins in that division that I didn't think that they were going to get. They got a big one coming up, big one to end the season here. I think, but we can talk about a little bit later too, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Browns are in a better position. It doesn't mean that they're in a good position, but they're in a better position. When it comes down to it, Mike Tomlin, as a coach, always loses 2 or 3 games that they're not supposed to. Now, this year, the fact that they started 11-0, they beat the Cowboys. They probably shouldn't have beat the Cowboys. They didn't really earn that one. And there's another one that's escaping my mind right now that they really didn't win the game, but they got the win anyway.
Yeah.
So when you start to add up some of these bad losses, it kind of draws a little parallel to 11 years ago. And the New Orleans Saints in 2009 started the season 13-0. Now, they got crushed by an average Carolina team. We'll just call them Washington. And then they got beat by a very good Dallas Cowboys team, and we'll call them Buffalo. And then they lost to a really bad Bucks team, and we'll call them the Bengals.
Hey, why
So
you got to talk bad about my Bucks like that?
So
I do want to talk about them.
based on history, the Steelers are going to win the Super Bowl. So sorry, guys.
There's a good chance there. Now,
I mean, the
speaking
last time someone was that undefeated and lost 3 in a row, they won the Super Bowl. So
speaking of losing games or winning games you should have won or whatever, again, if the Falcons just can't put Tom Brady away this past weekend, Chad? That was awesome. I saw that meme the other day where it was when you see Tom Brady sitting in that position, you know that the game's over.
The best part was some guy commented on that on our Instagram. He was like, how many souls has this guy sold?
Seriously, you shouldn't be able to come back like that in the NFL, and not twice in your career against a team like that, right? It's amazing how there's parity in the NFL, but it's crazy how things repeat. You know how often they repeat too. It's crazy.
Yeah. So what you're saying is history matters.
Well, you were talking about history repeating, and I thought it was a good idea to bring up what happened there down in Tampa and Atlanta. There, didn't get the chance to actually watch any of the game. Actually, did you get the chance to check it out, Chad?
Yeah, I watched it. I watched Dazin's my best friend, man. Like 45 minutes game recaps, like
Beautiful.
for stuff like this that we have to talk about is perfect for us, right? There's no way we can all watch 13 games a week as much as we want to.
I try.
Many as I could. I had a good setup, but I couldn't do it.
But yeah, we could do nothing right in the first half, and they came out, and also next, like all those balls that Tom's been missing all year by like one step. It's like all of a sudden he hit all of them. All the drops got caught. Anytime you just miss a sack, you were there in Matt Ryan's face. It was like everything clicked all at once for us. Unfortunately for the Falcons, it just seems to be the pattern of their season that like every team thinks are clicking against them when they have a lead. But yeah, like that has to be like one of the most snake bitten franchises in sports.
That old
Unreal.
man
It's
that owns it. I just feel so bad for Arthur Blank. He just gets screwed over so many times.
But like the Jets are 0. They were 0-13. We'll talk about them winning a football game shortly. But they're not even talked about the way the Falcons get talked about. Like that's the craziest part about it.
Yeah.
Everybody's just like, oh well, the Jets are gonna get Trevor Lawrence. But no one actually talks about how like
No.
The Jets can't even lose properly.
Yeah.
But dude, all we've talked about all year long, every talk show is how the Atlanta blew another lead.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like we're not talking about the team that's getting stomped out every week. We're talking about how Atlanta did it again. And Raheem Morris starting to get things turned around there, but obviously Atlanta's going to do Atlanta things, I guess, is what we'll say.
Yeah, I mean, you have to assume that like any chance that he had of keeping that job is probably gone now, right?
I think it has to be because they're just doing what Dan Quinn did before.
Yeah, I agree.
and that's just a lasting taste in your fan base's mouth.
Yeah, you don't need that, but let's Kalen so elegantly pointed out before we came on here about how the Browns are going to win the Super Bowl and Baker Mayfield's a Hall of Famer. It was something like that. Anyway, he was talking about something like that, but let's talk about another franchise that wasn't a position that the Falcons were in, but in, I don't know, 3 years they flipped their roster, but in 1 year they seem to be putting things together.
Are you saying nice things about the Browns right now?
I don't hate the Browns.
Wow, that's lovely. I like to hear that.
No, I had to stop myself. No, we are on air. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't draw my analogy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
nobody hates a team that they have to feel bad for.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll say.
No, the Browns have they've come along. Like you said, they've really found their identity. They've realized what they are. They're a ground and pound team, and that's okay. There's teams that can be exposed in today's NFL with the way that it's been designed on offense. You need to defenses are usually having a lot of nickel corners or a lot more DBs on the field, and teams are figuring out they can run against that. And when you have an attack like Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, and we keep talking about these guys, Nick Chubb is ridiculous. He's missed time, and he's still up in the upper top 5 for rushing yards for this year. Like, that's crazy for what he's able to do. I think he missed like 3 games or 4 games to be in the conversation with the top 4 guys or top 5 guys in the NFL for stats like that.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And he's fast, such a track star. Like, he just picks up and goes. The fastest running back that I've seen as far as once he hits top end speed since seeing somebody like a CJ2K. Like, I can outrun everybody out of the backfield.
Well, and a different build too. I mean, he can not only outrun people, but he can take them down easily.
That's right.
He's a little bowling ball out there too. Like, you don't see him until and he doesn't look like he's that big of a guy. You get up close with that guy's jacked. His legs are absolutely huge.
Right. I mean, he's quietly like a top 3 running back in the league, right?
He's only quiet because he plays in Cleveland.
Because he missed like a bit of time, and because he's not the top 3 running backs as far as rushing yards or whatever goes. But it's awesome to see what they're doing there. I'll be frank, they're a team in the AFC that I'm really scared of because you never know what you're going to play against. You could have a game where Baker Mayfield is going to give you 4 or 5 picks, which we haven't seen in a while, or you could be playing a game where he's going to dink and not be up the field and rely on his running game and the defense making some stout plays. Their team, I would be really worried to see in the playoffs for sure.
I'll set your mind at ease because have you ever seen Baker Mayfield win any game of any significance?
What did he do in college? Didn't he
lost to Georgia? Actually, he played his heart out, but he lost.
Yeah,
it was actually one of the best college football games I've ever seen.
So,
but that is what I mean though, is that they don't have to rely on Baker. They can rely on the running backs, and in the cold weather, in the playoffs, that becomes incredibly valuable. And Nick Chubb is only just hitting his stride, it seems. It's because he missed that time. It seems like he's just kind of hitting his second wind, and it's wild.
Your quarterback has to make 3 or 4 plays to win a playoff game.
I mean, I know. I watched it last season when I think Tanny only threw like 10 times in a game. He only had to make 4 or 5 completions. I know what that's about, but I think that Baker with Jarvis there and Austin Hooper and they have that third tight end that they drafted this year in the 4th round. And I just happened to watch because they were talking about him. The announcers were bringing him up.
Chad hates him.
Why is that? Why don't you like him?
This doesn't like him watching him.
Yeah, you just pissed me off last week. I was watching him 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
who the fuck is this guy? I was getting so fed up with him. He dropped every fucking thing that came near him.
And he blew blocks. Yeah, he was bad against the Ravens at points. Yeah.
Yeah, he certainly is not a blocking tight end by any means. And the drops, they were talking with that during the game as well. But he's definitely the most fluid route runner out there, and outside of Jarvis Landry, I think. But that's saying something. I mean, they went and signed Austin Hooper, and if they can go with the tight ends are a quarterback's best friend, and especially a quarterback who's had inaccuracy issues like Baker has. If you can run a 3 tight end type of set, just utilizing Jarvis out on the wide set and like subbing in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, that's scary. It's scary as an offense, man.
Lamar Jackson, great regular season quarterback. Baker Mayfield, great regular season quarterback. Until these guys start winning playoff games, stop trying to crown them, okay? Do yourself a favor.
I've said a few times. Yeah, I've said a few times that it's hard for me to bet on the Browns because they always let me down, right? Specifically this year, because I was betting against them all the time too, just saying they're going to lose, and they just keep fucking winning.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've definitely had a great season. I think this is their best season since like 2002.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they don't want to get with Derek Anderson, right? So.
Yeah. I think that they haven't been to the playoffs in quite a while, but I think that's going to change this year. I mean, they're going to be a playoff team from the looks of it, and
I think we're 1 week closer to Stefanski catching that coach of the year. If he gets even one more win this season, I think that he could potentially win that one.
Yeah, I'm still going to lean towards Matt LaFleur in Green Bay.
Okay.
It's difficult.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm changing topics. You must have finished your point.
Okay, yeah. It's difficult to say that somebody that is most likely a wild card, potentially a division winner, outrank somebody that is gonna tear. Like you said, they're gonna clinch their conference this week, right?
Yeah. Yeah, if they get a win, one more win, they clinch the conference for the Packers.
Or you said even a Saints loss, right? I mean, their magic number is just 1, and they have the conference clinch. I mean, that's pretty significant. And with the weapons and the amount of points that they're scoring to the weapons ratio, I would say Cleveland was a lot more loaded, with the exception of quarterback, going into the season as far as talent goes on the roster. Sure. And LaFleur is gonna finish the season like 14-2 probably.
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe.
Probably.
Tough matchup this weekend, boys.
Yeah. Huh.
Chat, what were you gonna say there, young man?
Young man, I'm older than you are. The gray in my beard, trust me, I'm older than you are. Have they announced how long Edwards-Helaire is out for?
At least the regular season for sure.
Yep.
Okay.
But it's a high ankle sprain. Let's be realistic. That's going to be.
Who knows at this point?
Yeah. It's a hip injury.
Wow, that was a high ankle sprain. So it said on ESPN.
Well, I mean, ESPN can't be wrong, so we'll definitely go with what they said.
Anyway, regular season anyway, and they're gonna, if they get the first round bye, so potentially 3 weeks. Like that's what they're hoping for. But it's. I mean, they signed up with Spencer Ware.
Well, let's just talk about what we talked about all season long. They brought in Le'Veon Bell for a reason, and it's showing right now.
Mm-hmm.
The way he caught the ball in the backfield this weekend it showed what Le'Veon Bell was.
Right, exactly.
Has he lost a step? 100%. Every running back does, but he still gets open and he can catch the football, and that's all they need him to do.
Yeah,
take hits, run over a linebacker, get to the second level. He's not going to get you 6 yards a pop. He's going to get you your 3.8 to 4.3, somewhere in there, every single time he touches the ball. He might bounce one outside and get a couple, but every time he goes out there, he is the primary receiver.
Yeah.
Like, it's one look to Hill. If it's not there, they're going to dump it down right away because they're going to start putting 2 on Kelsey, 2 on Hill, make everybody else beat them, and that's when Le'Veon Bell is going to – we keep saying he's going to eat about every guy in the league, but, like, it's the Le'Veon Bell show.
Right.
And they got him at a very nice discount. I think they paid him nothing pretty much. And now they're going to show why they brought him in.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to work out for both sides because it sure looks like the Chiefs are steamrolling towards a Super Bowl appearance against the Packers. I mean, if everything were to work out the way that the NFL wants it to. And that if that guy goes on to win the Super Bowl with the Chiefs, someone's going to roll the bank out for him again. And he's just, he's going to take his money and say, fuck it, whatever.
And it's never like, he was never like the fastest running back. We always knew he was a patient running back behind the line, but once he got beyond the line, he had a couple moves. But he was quick. I mean, he's fast.
Yeah.
But like he doesn't look fast on that Chiefs offense. Like
go look at him in college.
Yeah.
In college, he was 25 pounds heavier. The guy was a fucking like a bowling ball.
Yeah, he was a tank.
And he came into the Steelers. They had him lose a bunch of weight, and it's better for his overall sustainability in the league. And like now that he's with a guy like Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, I mean, he throws it whatever fucking sidearm he feels like, and he's gonna have an opportunity to make a lot of plays. It's too bad this didn't happen earlier in the season, so that like my fantasy team would have been saved because I did draft Bell and I kept him all year. But I mean, he's pretty useless to me now. I'm already out. So
Oh, Shane, I have an idea for you since you and I are playing in the third place game. Since it doesn't mean
Okay.
I know we're both petty as fuck and it doesn't matter anyways.
deal.
Do you want to donate that money to Child Can?
I didn't even know we were playing for money, so I don't see why not.
Yeah, you win your money back. So I know you and I only care
sure.
about first place anyways. So
All right.
so that's $100 going to Child Can regardless.
Cheering
There
the
you go.
team on
Boom.
this weekend, boys. Come on.
Yeah. So, to be honest, guys, I was counting it earlier and I had it written down, but with that donation, I think we're going to be around like $400 already.
Nice.
Wow. That is
Yeah.
awesome, guys.
Yeah.
Good job,
So-
everybody. Good.
Right.
Thanks for helping.
I think by the time we put Chad's little nuts in the water, they should be we should be somewhere like to adding a comma on there. I think that'd be a nice little round number.
Oh, I'm sure we can get it to that by that.
I'll tell you what, if we go over $1,000 for raising, I'll go in with Chad.
Oh, there we go.
Could we do like Rocky and Apollo and they have the little like bromance in the ocean or what? That little scene where they frolic.
Only if we can wear the robes.
Oh,
I think it's going to
we
look
can
more like that
definitely-
Jason scene where he's underwater trying to pull the
Right.
victim down.
We're gonna have to talk to our t-shirt guys and see if they can make us robes. I think
100%
that'd
they
be
can do some robes.
Yeah, those guys are awesome.
They've been hooking it up. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, they're doing a great job.
We've got some great local community teams that we've been partnered with, no doubt.
Yeah, and we're just gonna continue to do that. So if you're a local team or anything and you want some kind of a shout out with us, just get in touch with us. We'll figure it out for you. Unfortunately, with the great job that we're doing, the parallel we're going to draw is to the Pro Bowl. And no matter how great of a job you do in the NFL, it comes down to fan voting. And fan voting, in my opinion, is as bad as John Hussey is at officiating.
He probably got the vote too to go do the game.
Yeah, that guy is a fucking loser. Like anybody that watched Monday Night Football yesterday and realizes that there was 4 calls that dictated the actual outcome of the game. It's almost not
fantasy football championship.
And it's almost not even worth watching the game if the refs are going to be slanted in a way towards setting up for week 17. Like what you're talking about, that whole thing was manufactured yesterday. Did you watch the game, Kalen? Or are you frozen?
Sorry, I was frozen there. I heard a little bit of what you were doing there, but I was also paying attention to a little something else here too. What was going on there with the reffing? Sorry.
Did you not watch
game,
Monday Night Football?
The Bengals and the Steelers game. I didn't start watching that one until the second half, unfortunately. This was after I saw your text message that hit the chat talking about leading with the crown and catching a penalty for that or something like that. So fill me in what happened there.
Okay, so leading with the crown of the helmet is clearly a penalty. Now,
as a defender, right? You can do it as a running back, right?
No, you can't do it either way. But,
okay.
But it's generally only called one way. Now, Von Bell hit Ju Ju Smith-Schuster, crown of his helmet, right under his chin, fumble.
Was this one where the ball flew up in the air?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, the big hit. Yes, okay.
So that was 3rd down. Now, that is a 15-yard penalty from the 50-yard line. Let's go ahead and put that on the 35, see what happens. Instead, that turns into a Bengals field goal. Fine. And keep in mind, this is not me saying that the Steelers played great. I think that they played like shit. They had a good third quarter. That's pretty much it. So if you watch the third quarter, you probably don't know how bad the first quarter was. Now, after that, there was the pass interference that Chad was just talking about. Awful. God awful. And it ended up knocking Ebron out. They basically ran at him and kneed him in the back, which I don't know. That's a wrestling move to me.
He got hit twice before the ball got there.
Yeah.
So if he catches that ball, I win my fantasy football champion game. I'm going to the finals. I'm a happy man. Instead, they hit him early twice. He gets knocked out of the game. I lose the game. He's out of the game, and they don't get their first down.
Right. Now you call pass interference there. That takes the ball all the way up to 17-yard line. Again, that puts a pretty good offense in the red zone because of a penalty. Not because they deserve it, but because that's a penalty, and it doesn't. The outcome of the game is dependent on it. Now, a questionable one, pass interference on James Harrison or James Washington, whatever. I'll let it go. Now, the worst one of the game is at the end when there's guys draped all over Chase Claypool, and they don't call it.
Oh,
And
I did see that one. Yeah.
the national announcers are like, "Oh, well, you can't call something like that in this situation of the game."
What was joke?
In my
when I
opinion, does the game not go both ways?
I don't know. I think it was. I don't know if it was during that game or it might have been during the Sunday night game. But there was a pass interference play that was called, or there was a catch that was made. It was pushed out or something like that. Actually, I think it was in the Steelers game. They pushed him out and they called it a no catch. And I was thinking about back to when we were in school, and the rule in the NFL still was that the ref had to make a judgment call on whether or not the. Could you imagine, giving the refs the opportunity to inflict that kind of call or change the play like that? Oh my God! And now we let go of this whole throwing the flag on pass.
The force out, yeah, the force out bullshit.
The force out rule was crazy. But then we tried that 1 year of being able to throw the flag on some of these calls, and it seemed to me like the ones that I did see reviewed or that were talked about, it seemed like the NFL was putting a little bit of pressure on the refs to say, like, don't overturn these calls, because there was definitely some calls that should have been overturned or could have been questionable at best, and that's usually what you're going for when it comes to a play change or play call change, and they wouldn't make the call. So I don't know.
Right.
You see a play like that. I always like to get under your skin, but I will sit here and say that if that Claypool play was done on any one of the Titans receivers, I'd be talking about it into next week still. Like, that was in my opinion, a blown call. It was an underthrown ball, but it was a blown missed call for sure.
I'm telling you, all those penalties would have been called if it was a 1:00 game on a Sunday. But it's a national televised game. They want to keep people engaged in the game. Plus, they want to, make Week 17 matter a little bit more, because if you look down the schedule, there's just not a lot on there. Anyway, I got off track. We're talking about the Pro Bowl.
Back to the Pro Bowl.
I got off track. I was pissed off.
This is another way here because it's not a traditional Pro Bowl this year, right? It's all virtual. I think they're doing it Madden this year or something like that.
So something like that. I mean, for me, when I looked at it, generally I don't even watch the Pro Bowl even when they do it. I don't mind the skill stuff, but how somebody like DeForest Buckner gets left off there, I don't get it.
Yeah, he's definitely the most telling game. You could see how their run defense has been this entire year. And then I can only use off a personal reference, but when the second time that the Titans got to play them and Buckner was on the COVID list, Henry had wide open lanes. Nobody was able to run like that, and it's blatantly obvious. I mean, they traded for him, or they did trade for him. I don't think that they traded for him, but they paid him a lot of money anyway when he came over to Indy, and he's worth every single dollar of it. Him and Darius Leonard being the middle, the 1-2 punch there up the middle is a disaster.
Out for season, right?
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, that's a really bad one. So, but yeah, DeForest Buckner getting left off. Did you have any snubs you thought about, Chad? You saw anybody that you
the one I actually, perfect example of Shane said, like, how fans shouldn't be allowed to vote. I've never even heard of this guy. The only way I know him, I literally Googled it because I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Trey Hendrickson in New Orleans is second in the league in sacks.
The sacks.
Play rush end down in New Orleans. He is second league in sacks. He has 13 tackles for loss. He's getting the backfield, obviously causing havoc. He gets left off to a guy like Brandon Graham, who's had a mediocre season.
Yeah.
And Brandon Graham is getting let in strictly on name alone. And once again, I said I'm just guilty.
That's all it is. Yeah.
Once I really looked him up, I've seen him play against Tampa. Like, he's the white guy causing havoc on the end. That's literally what I know him as. And that's why I thought I didn't know his name. But yeah, then I see a guy Brandon Graham. I've seen a bunch of Philly games this year, and I was not impressed by them at all.
Right.
He hasn't done much, but he has a body of work that, if for the common fan, that's who you're going to go to, because you're really just looking through a list, and you're going to say, "Oh, Brandon Graham, I know that guy."
Right.
Click him. Okay.
He might be the only guy in the league that gets injured more than AJ Brown.
I see where you went there. That was a good one.
You went to AJ Brown if you weren't sure.
Hey, look at that! I just turned on Siri.
Another big snub, and I hope I'm not stealing yours, Kalen, but this guy is in your division. James Robinson.
An undrafted player too, right? Like, broke 1,000 yards. Like, that's awesome. Yeah. Like, he's definitely somebody who should have been there. Now, mind you, and AFC's got some stacked running backs, so it's difficult to make the list. But I think he should have been in there in the conversation for it for sure.
Well, I'd say it's a pretty safe bet that the Jags aren't going to be in the Super Bowl, so maybe he'll be an injury replacement for somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
What do you
yeah,
mean they can't be in the Super Bowl?
yeah. Well, hey, they won their Super Bowl, and
Yeah,
by
they were
getting,
given their Super Bowl.
yeah, I mean they got their dicks pounded in the dirt by Baltimore, and now they get Trevor Lawrence. It seems like honestly that seems fair.
The picture of the guy in the Jets jersey at the bar, so upset.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cha-
you got the Trevor Lawrence jersey on. That's brutal, man.
Oh, sorry, my
All
phone
that
said
money
you're in low
spent, and
battery
you just
mode.
pissed it away. Jags could win a game. It's really incredibly doubtful, but they could win a game. We never know.
I think they should take a knee on every
Yeah.
play.
yeah.
Like, don't
well, hey,
put the ball in the air. Like, don't risk it.
I'm not
It
sure
all
if they
depends.
play the Titans again this year, but never know, man.
No, I think they finished the season against the Colts. So I think if the Colts win this week, if things play out, the last game of the season may be meaningless for the Colts. So maybe they don't play a lot of starters. Maybe the Jags end up getting another win. Who knows, right?
They just walk into the locker room. Do not win. If you win this game, you will be fired.
You know what I hope happens? I hope that the Jets and the Jaguars both win out, and by doing that, the Bengals would have got the first overall pick, but they screwed it over, and they could have traded that pick for every pick that they need to rebuild their roster.
Okay.
Fuck those guys.
But another guy, I guess I could throw out there that's a snub, I think, is I have no idea how Evan Ingram made the friggin' Pro Bowl. Can somebody fill this in for me? Like, did he
So
make
is this
it?
a reverse snub?
Well, no, he made the. Yeah, well, he should have.
Yeah.
Tonyan made it. It should have been the player, the tight end for Green Bay. Should have been the player
Okay,
that made it in over Evan Ingram. Like to me, like Evan Ingram's a name. He's a fast tight end. He had a great name coming out of
That's
college.
literally what it is. He's a fast tight end. He's made a couple highlights this year.
Yeah, and is it just
and he
because
plays
he's
in
got
New
the New
York.
York fan base? Yeah, New York team, New York fan base that put in a lot of votes for him
Yeah.
or something like that. Because he certainly doesn't deserve it. I mean, he's barely. He doesn't even have right now. Is like I don't know. It was at 570 yards. I'm looking at it right now. He's got a single touchdown. Like just somebody like you don't. He doesn't have the yards. He doesn't have the touchdowns. I just
Is
don't.
it
I'll,
Towan or Towan? Is that how you pronounce his name?
Tonyan.
Tonyan.
Yeah.
I think the issue is he's just overshadowed in Green Bay that people don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
Like there's Devontae Adams there. You have what's the fuck name of his name? Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
And then you have Aaron Rodgers, who's the MVP of the league. No one looks at everywhere else. Look at those three guys, right? So I think he's got overlooked. But yeah, Evan Ingram, that's a joke. The fact that he's in and that he's not. So
let me sum up how big of a joke the Pro Bowl is, and then we can move on. There was a trade back in September. Ngakoue got traded to Minnesota. Now Ngakoue has since been traded to Baltimore. Now, Jaguars fans are voting for Ngakoue to make the Pro Bowl because if he makes the Pro Bowl, and I don't know if he did or not, then they would get a higher draft pick.
That was conditional or whatever they're called. Draft. No, can't remember what they're
How
called.
is that how is that a thing? That's change the format, guys. And that's a perfect segment or a segue into a format that needs to be changed. The college football invitational.
yes.
Why are you referring it to the as invitational?
Do you believe? Yeah, you have to be invited in. You don't earn your way in. Do you honestly feel? And I know you don't because you brought this up weeks ago. Do you honestly feel that Ohio State deserves to be in over Texas A&M?
No, I was watching the game, and when Chad, I said to him, I don't think it's going to be able to be the prediction score that he had there. It's going to be quite tough. If they had walked in and destroyed them and laid down that score that Chad had predicted, the 63-10 or 63-14, whatever it was, absolutely. Yep. They deserve to be in the conversation, deserve to be there. They did nothing. They went against a Northwestern team who, in my opinion, up until the second half and coming into the third quarter, part of the third quarter, they were getting their asses kicked. They were getting fed against a team that was definitely a ranked team, but a team that is not nearly as good as what Ohio State is as far as the roster goes.
Yeah, not even on the same level.
Yeah, and it should have been a 60. They won, and they won by a couple scores. But if it was 60-something in or 60 to something as a score, they should have been invited in. But to me, Texas A&M deserved to be there. They've had a better season. They deserve to be there.
11-1, Texas A&M has every right to be in that spot.
And I hate the Aggies.
I was okay with Notre Dame getting bumped out.
Yeah.
After what happened in the ACC championship, I thought they might get bumped out. I thought we might be a 4 seed, which is what happened. But
Yeah.
I don't understand how A&M doesn't get in over Ohio State. Once again the NCAA did us wrong as fans.
Wait.
Yeah.
What is Ohio State's ranking now?
3.
What Notre Dame went to 4?
Yeah.
So explain to me. So Notre Dame splits with
Clemson.
Season, and they drop to 4. Ohio State barely wins. I say that it should have been a bigger win than it was. They won, but they barely won, and they get to go up a spot. I don't understand that.
Well, they don't want Clemson playing Notre Dame 3 times in 6 weeks.
Yeah, and they usually set it up so that there's no conference games for the playoff. Like they've set it up that way for the last few years.
Well, the whole I don't want to play them 3 times in 6 weeks or whatever. That's you got to play who you got to play, I guess. And if it means that you're lining up against playing Notre Dame and Clemson again, that happens. Yeah. I guess that's what it is.
I think personally that they, and not because Notre Dame didn't have a great season, but it should be Alabama against Ohio State, because if you play little amount of games, you should be going head to head with
the best team in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And then a team like Texas A&M should be playing Clemson, because this late in the season, neither one of those teams has a loss recently. I like it's kind of a silly situation that you lose one game in your conference championship and you're not really deserving, but it's not really much different than like us in the NFL. The second a team, like if the Packers go into lose to Tennessee, we're gonna be like, oh, what's wrong with the Packers? They stink. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. No. Okay, so who does Clemson playing then? They're playing Ohio, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
repeat of last year.
Would you?
Which was a classic of a game, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what we're hoping it's going to be again. Now, realistically, though, who do you think would put up a better fight based off of what we just saw Ohio State do with Northwestern and what we saw Texas A&M do this whole year so far? Who would it be a better, better match to have in the long run?
The problem is Ohio State hasn't played anybody.
They haven't, and they did.
And this isn't a shot of the Big Ten. There wasn't a shot of the Big Ten. They were not a very good conference this year.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Like they scrambled to get their programs put together, basically.
And then you had SEC, who played almost a full schedule, and it's still the best conference in football. As much as we try to, every year we try to say it's not, but it's always up there. They produce the most NFL players every single year in and year out.
Right.
And so A&M goes in there, has a great season, they get punished, and it's kind of a lot of like me and Shane have talked to this for years. I think this year would have been the perfect time. Let 8 teams in.
Yeah.
6, 8, whatever it is. Yeah.
Like if you put in 8, Ohio State still gets in. That's cool, but they don't get that top 4 seed. Like your top 5 seeds make your Power 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then it's simple. The highest rank in the Power 5 gets the 5 seed or the 6 seed, and then 2 at-large bids with the highest rank. It's that simple.
And
Notre Dame would have fallen down to 6 or 7, and I'm okay with that. And that if that is the actual system.
Yeah. And being the marketing guy that I am, if the playoff games were played the Monday after each of the corresponding NFL playoff weekends, and the national championship is the Saturday before Super Bowl Sunday, let's go. That's a weekend. You know?
Yeah. And who doesn't want to start the
weekend.
Monday off watching football and then ordering Joe Cools?
Yeah. Hey, that stuff is delicious, eh? Chad and I had some of that. That was the highlight of the ACC championship game.
Yeah, it's kind of what got me through that game. was the good old kitchen sink.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with our boy Aiden on the sidelines doing a little dance.
He was having
right now.
He was having a good time. Give him a break.
Yeah.
He was having some fun.
I did. That was the break I gave him. I said he wasn't very nice. That's all.
Yeah. But the games are going to be good. I think it's pretty absurd that Notre Dame is opening a 20.5-point underdog.
The disrespect on that is disgusting.
I mean, and it just based on that spread alone makes you think that you put the wrong team in. But on the same side, I guess Ohio State is a 10-point underdog to Clemson, which is exactly what Notre Dame was. So is Notre Dame and Ohio State like equivalent teams? Because if they are, then I'll put Notre Dame in, and then we're talking the same language. And the Aggies would have been 3, right? Like that's kind of where we should have been at. But yeah. Other than that, I mean, the New Year's 6 games, they look like they're going to be a couple half decent ones. Personally, yeah.
There's three lost teams playing on the New Year's Six, which is absolutely nuts.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know how many teams actually opted out of their bowl games. I know like Michigan State opted out of their bowl game. They're by no means were they a New Year's Six bowl. They were probably going to get the nobody gives a shit bowl, but the thing that, and I know this is a completely different sport again, and we're going to have a separate clip, so make sure you look out for it. I'm looking forward to the World Juniors. This is one of those years that it's a hell of a team.
Yeah, they can pick anybody. They can pick anybody they want, right? Because no seasons are going.
Yeah.
There was a few players that didn't get the chance to come down, unfortunately, from the NHL. They weren't let go, but yeah, pretty much for the most part, everybody's fair game to play, which is awesome.
Which means Canada should win, because we literally last time this happened was in 2005 when we sent the dream team from hell to the World Juniors,
and they got hate banged.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, that's going to be cool. We're going to break that down a little bit further. But it's a pretty crazy time in sports for us right now. NBA started today. We got the NHL starting in a couple of weeks. We got the World Juniors. We got some NFL playoffs. We got the College Football Invitational. We got college basketball if you're a gambler during the week. You know, what more could you want?
For sure. And I want to touch base on that first NBA game there. We had Brooklyn playing the Warriors. And only because I'm a Texas fan, so I love my KD. It's nice to see him back. It's scary to see him in the Celtics division. He's going to be a tough opponent to play against. I think the Warriors are going to have a rough go this year. Losing Clay to start the season was unexpected again, but it's nice to see KD playing ball again, man. It's awesome. Albeit playing with Kyrie, but it's cool to see KD playing again.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, I'm having a difficult time getting excited about Game 1 of the NBA season, but I have made a commitment to you guys to watch a little bit more NBA than I would normally watch. And so far, I have beat my record from last year of regular season games, and I'm currently at 1. So,
well,
and so far I'm doing par for the course at a big old donut.
Yeah. well, when we finish up here, the Lakers and the Clippers are playing. So, pay attention to that.
You know that's past my bedtime.
Hey, get those Lakers -2.5. You know, winking the guns. But yeah, pay attention. Like, we're gonna have lots of videos coming out. As everybody knows, we're in Ontario. We're going into quarantine, so you're gonna see lots of our pretty faces online. So make sure that you're checking it out. Like, comment, give us some ideas. I mean, give us something to do. We're gonna be bored.
Yeah, let us know what sports you want to talk about. If there's any topics you want to bring up or debate with us on our show with, and I'd love to do with it for sure.
Yeah, and make sure you go to the website and check out Chad's most recent article. It's another great one. Good job, Chad. Make sure you give him feedback. And I don't believe that there's any spelling errors or grammar errors, and Chad did that all by himself. So
that's a bold-faced lie. That thing got edited like 5. It actually the best part. I wrote it in Google Drive, and it says it says like it tells you can like see details. There was 140 something changes to my article.
All right,
it's okay, Chad. You have good ideas.
Yeah, hey.
I'm just the idea guy. I'm the idea guy.
That's right.
I was trying to give him one, but make sure you check it out. And like I said, check out those World Juniors picks. We're going to be making them all week long.
All right, guys. Thanks.